Hello and welcome to this week's Reading Assembly. We're going to start off this week as usual with our Spelling Shed Awards. So let's have a look who has got bronze position this week. Well done to Dylan from 3MW, bronze medal position again this week Dylan, well done, keep up the hard work, that's absolutely brilliant to see. In silver position we have got Toby Greenwood again from 3NW, bit of a theme going on here, Miss Whitehead. 3NW seem to be absolutely smashing Spelling Shed at the minute. But the gold award this week goes to somebody who has been keeping me updated constantly all week on their Spelling Shed position. And I am not surprised she has won the gold award this week. It is well deserved. It goes to Bella in 6SP. Well done, Bella. Keep up the hard work and keep updating me on your progress. It's lovely to see you working so hard on Spelling Shed. Okay, for our class awards on Spelling Shed now, we have in bronze position 4BT. Well done, Mr. Taylor's class. Nice to see so many of you going on this week. Our silver class award this week goes to 6SP. And I've got to say 6SP, that was massively down to Bella's hard work. Not a lot of the rest of the class going on, so we need to be getting on there, 6SP. If a couple more of you had gone on, you would have taken the lead there this week. But the gold position this week goes to 3NW, and I've got to say, no surprises. When I look down the Spelling Shed league tables, consistently it is 3NW that are going on there time and time again. So well done guys, keep working hard and keep working hard going on your Spelling Shed assignments at home as well. It's brilliant to see. Right, now for our reading award this week, it goes to a class who managed to achieve 100% readers this week. 100% goes to 5PA. Well done guys, that's absolutely brilliant. I think that's your first reading gold award, so keep it up. But I've got to say I'm a little bit disappointed because I got all excited because my class got 91%, and then when I saw the 100% on the system I was like no. So it's just a massive message to everybody else in the school. Everybody in the class has to read at least 3 times a week to be able to achieve this award. So it's just amazing that you've got 100% 5PA. Well done. Brilliant. Now on to a new feature of our reading assembly. I've decided to introduce Staff Reader of the Week. Okay, and I've sent an email out to all of the staff in the school asking for a picture of themselves reading one of their favourite books. Okay, and to tell me why it is one of their favourite books in order for me to be able to share that with you all in assembly every single week. And I've got to say, the amount of staff that have sent pictures in so far is quite disappointing. So you need to be nagging your teachers in your classroom to be sending Miss Riley a picture for the reading assembly every week, because it'd be lovely to see every single member of staff up on the assembly list. So the first ever staff reader of the week is Mrs. Ward. Now this is very fitting because Mrs. Ward is one of our longest serving members of staff, and Mrs. Ward works in the DSP, so she goes throughout school, so everybody will see Mrs. Ward going through school, going to all her different classrooms and different year groups to work with so many children. And Mrs. Ward has sent us a picture of her reading the very famous Julia Donaldson book Stickman, and I've got to say it's one of my favourites as well, Mrs. Ward. Now, Mrs. Ward said that Stickman is one of her favourites because she loves the fact that Stickman goes on an adventure and all of the book rhymes. So thank you very much, Mrs. Ward. Absolutely brilliant to see a picture of you reading Stickman there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to print your picture off and I'm going to stick it in a frame outside the DSP so that everybody can see Mrs. Ward reading her very special book, Stickman. Okay? All of the staff members, remember, email those pictures into me and I will feature you in one of my reading assemblies. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ward, for sending your picture in, and thank you very much for all the hard work you do across our school. Right, now for me to announce the winners of our long-awaited Year 2 Reading Pathway vote. Now, we had to choose between Sixth in a Sid and Pumpkin Soup, and I've got to say, it wasn't close at all, and I thought it would be closer than this. But we had 89 votes across school for Sixth in a Sid and 134 votes for pumpkin soup. So I will pass you over now for pumpkin soup. Enjoy, everybody. So the winner of this week's reading vote for year 2 is Pumpkin Soup by Helen Cooper. Okay. Deep in the woods there's an old white cabin with pumpkins in the garden. There's a good smell of soup, and at night, with luck, you might see a bagpiping cat through the window, and a squirrel with a banjo, and a small singing duck. Pumpkin soup, the best you ever tasted. Made by the cat who slices up the pumpkin, made by the squirrel who stirs in the water, made by the duck who scoops up a pipkin of salt and tips in just enough. They slurp their soup and play their song, then pop off to bed in a quilt stitched together by the cat, embroidered by the squirrel and filled with fine feathers from the duck. And it's peaceful in the old white cabin. Everyone has his own job to do. Everyone is happy, or so it seems. But one morning the duck woke up early. He tiptoed into the kitchen and smiled at the squirrel's special spoon. "Wouldn't it be fine," he murmured, "if I could be the head cook?" Quack! He drew up a stool, hopped on top, and reached until his beak just touched the tip of the spoon. Kerplonk! Down it clattered. Then the duck trotted back to the bedroom, held up the spoon and said, "Today it's my turn to stir the soup." "That's mine!" squeaked the squirrel. "Stirring is my job! Give that back!" "You're much too small," snapped the cat. "We'll cook the way we always have." Meow. But the duck held on tight until the squirrel tugged with all his might, and whoops! The spoon spun through the air and bopped the cat on the head. Then there was trouble, a horrible squabble, a row, a racket, a rumpus in the old white cabin. "I'm not staying here," wailed the duck. "You never let me help with anything." And he packed up a barrow and put on his hat and waddled away. "You'll be back," stormed the cat, "after we've cleaned up." And the squirrel shook his spoon in the air, but the duck didn't come back. Not for breakfast, not even for lunch. "I'll find him," scoffed the cat. "He'll be hiding outside. I bet he's in the pumpkin patch." But the duck was not in the pumpkin patch. They could not find him anywhere. So they waited all that long afternoon. The cat watched the door. The squirrel paced the floor. "That duck will be sorry when he comes home," they muttered. But the duck didn't come home, not even at soup time. The soup wasn't tasty. They'd made it too salty. They didn't feel hungry anyway. They both sobbed over supper, and their tears dripped into the soup and made it even saltier. "We should have let him stir the soup," sniffed the squirrel. "He was only trying to help," wept the cat. "Let's go out and look for him." The cat and the squirrel were scared as they wandered down the path in the dark, dark woods. They feared for the duck all alone with the trees, and the foxes, and the wolves, and the witches, and the bears, but they couldn't find him. On and on they trotted. They reached the edge of a steep, steep cliff. "Maybe he fell down that," wailed the cat. "I'll save him," squeaked the squirrel, and he scrambled down on a long, shaky rope. He searched all around on the ground, but he couldn't find the duck. Then the cat whispered in a sad little voice, "Duck might have found some better friends." "He might," yelped the squirrel. "Friends who let him help." And the more they thought about it as they plodded back, the more they were sure they were right. But when they were almost home, they saw light shining from the old white cabin. "It's Duck!" they shrieked as they burst through the door. And Duck was so pleased to see them. He was also very hungry, and though it was late, they thought they would all make some pumpkin soup. When the duck stirred, the cat and the squirrel didn't say a word. Not even when the duck stirred the soup so fast that it slopped right out of the pot. Not even when the pot got burnt. Then the duck showed the squirrel how to measure out the salt, and the soup was still the best you ever tasted. So once again it was peaceful in the old white cabin, until the duck said, "I think I'll play the bagpipes now." Right. Right, now on to next week's reading vote. Now, next week's reading vote is a Year 3 reading pathway vote. And we have got to choose between Amazing Grace by Mary Hoffman and Caroline Binch, or Harry the Poisonous Centipede by Lynn Reid Banks. Okay, the year staff are all really excited for next week's assembly, and they cannot wait to see what each class have voted for. Okay, I look forward to counting your votes, and I will see you next week. Thank you, everybody.